So if you run a business, you probably know this struggle. I mean, you've invested time and money into a beautiful website, but it's just not really doing anything, is it?
It sits there.
Exactly. It feels less like a sales tool
Yeah.
and more like this passive digital storefront that's just, politely waiting.
Visible only to people who already have your business card, basically.
Right. They have to know your name to find you.
Yeah.
So today, we are tearing that exact problem apart. We're going to do a deep dive into a real-world case study for a practice called Strength in Motion PT.
And we're going to see how they moved from that sleeping digital presence into what we call an active client acquisition engine.
Okay. And for our measurement tool, we're not guessing here.
No, absolutely not. We are tracking this transformation using, well, really the only data source that matters for this, Google Search Console, GSC.
The source of truth.
The source of truth. For anyone listening who's trying to get a handle on their online visibility, GSC is. It's just critical. You have to see it as the direct, unfiltered translator between your website and Google itself.
It cuts out all the assumptions, all the noise from other tools.
It does. It's the official health dashboard. Straight from the source, it tells you exactly how Google sees you.
Which is really all that matters in the end.
Precisely. And for any of this to even be possible, a site has to get through Google's three foundational stages. The plumbing, so to speak.
Okay, let's break down that plumbing really quickly for anyone who might be curious but isn't, an SEO pro. What are those three stages?
So first up, you have crawling. This is just Google's automated bots, the spiders, finding your page. They follow links. They discover new stuff. If they can't crawl you,
You don't exist.
you're invisible.
Yeah.
Then second, you have indexing. And this is, I'd argue, the most important step. Google finds the content, it analyzes it, figures out what it's about, and then stores it in its giant database.
So crawling is finding the book, indexing is putting it on the right shelf in the giant Google library.
That is a perfect analogy, and that leads to the third stage, serving. This is the moment of truth. Someone types in a question, and Google pulls your page from the shelf and shows it to them.
Got it. Okay, so for this deep dive, we're using those GSC metrics, impressions, clicks, and queries to compare two specific time periods. We've got a before snapshot from late August 2025 and an after from early January 2026, right after they put some new, very targeted content on their site.
Right.
Let's start with that before picture, August 2025. This data it's the perfect illustration of that sleeping website problem.
It really is.
In the entire period we measured, the site got a grand total of 102 impressions.
102. I mean, to put that in perspective, that's like putting up a single flyer in a huge, busy city and just hoping someone sees it. It's barely a blip.
And that blip, that flicker of visibility, led to how many clicks?
Zero. A perfect 0% click-through rate.
Oh.
That is the definition of the zero-click barrier. The site existed, but it wasn't useful or compelling enough for a single person to actually click on it. It was just digitally inert.
0 clicks. That has to be so frustrating for a business owner.
It is, but the why, here's what's so fascinating. Why have impressions but no clicks? Well, we looked at the queries, the search terms that the site was showing up for. They were all branded terms, things like strength in motion physio or, strength in motion morphitic.
Yeah, so they were only visible to people who were already looking for them by name.
Exactly. People who already had a referral or something. They were just using Google like an address book.
Okay, so here's the big takeaway from that before snapshot for anyone listening.
The site was ranking for who the business is, not what the business solves.
That is a huge distinction. The website was basically a digital handshake, just confirming they exist, rather than being a magnet for new people with problems.
Correct. If someone typed in, say, why does my knee hurt? This site was completely invisible. It wasn't there at that, aha, I need help moment.
And that's the moment that matters. So what was the intervention? How did they fix this?
The solution was very deliberate. It was the placement of three very targeted, intent-driven content pages. This wasn't just random blogging. This was content engineered to solve high-value patient problems.
To capture that search traffic before a user even knew the brand's name.
That's the key.
So what were the specific problem areas they focused on?
The three focus areas were chronic pain coaching, osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia treatment.
See, even those titles are different. They're solutions to conditions, not just a list of services.
Right. And that was the whole goal. To shift from ranking for their brand name to ranking for these high-value, solution-oriented keywords. You know, the stuff people actually search for when they're in pain.
That's where you find new clients.
That's where customer acquisition starts. You answer the question, you solve the problem, and then you can introduce your service.
Okay, now let's get to the fun part, the numbers. This is where it gets really compelling. Let's look at the after period. Early January 2026, just 10 days after this new content went live.
Let's hear the headline numbers. What happened to that visibility?
All right, so the site's visibility just exploded.
Yeah.
We went from that measly 102 impressions in the before snapshot to 1,088 impressions in the after period.
Wow.
That is a 966% increase in search visibility.
Okay, wait, hold on. 966%. I mean, that sounds almost manufactured. Are we sure nothing else changed, like a big Google update or something? Or is this just a fluke because the baseline was so low?
That's a totally fair challenge.
Yeah.
And it goes right back to why we trust GSC data. The analysis confirmed it.
Yeah.
No major technical changes, no site overhauls. The only new variable was the content.
So it's a direct correlation.
Yes, the baseline was low, which makes the percentage look huge, but the sheer volume going from like a handful a day to over 100 impressions a day, that's a real tangible shift.
It's a genuine increase in Google's perceived relevance. Okay, so visibility is one thing, but what about the zero-click barrier? Did they break it?
They shattered it. The site went from 0 clicks to acquiring 34 total clicks in just 10 days.
34. And was it consistent?
That's the other key. The data shows clicks happened every single day from January 2nd onward. They even had a peak of 7 clicks on one day, January 7th.
So you've gone from hoping someone calls to having a predictable digital funnel that's working for you every single day.
Absolutely. It's now an active traffic acquisition device. Google trusts it for a whole new set of topics.
That trust translates into visibility, which translates into clicks. So let's zoom in on where that traffic came from, the 3 new pages.
Right. They created their own little keyword ecosystem. Let's start with the osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis page. That one got 121 impressions, but it was the top click driver of the new pages. It brought in 4 clicks.
And its ranking was really good, too. It had an average position of around 7.6.
Which puts it solidly on page 1 of Google. Why is that so important?
Well, being on page 1 means people actually see you. Most users never, ever click to the second page. So getting on that first page, even at the bottom, tells you Google thinks your content is a really good match for what the user wants. It's a huge win.
Okay, what about the other 2 pages?
The fibromyalgia treatment page actually ranked even higher. Its average position was 6.72. So super relevant in Google's eyes. It brought in 93 impressions and 1 click.
And the chronic pain coaching page.
That one was interesting. It got the most visibility of the 3 new pages, 229 impressions, but it only got 1 click.
So high visibility doesn't always equal high engagement.
Exactly. Maybe the title wasn't as compelling in the search results or something, but if you add it all up, those 3 new pages brought in 443 impressions and 6 clicks that the site simply never would have gotten before.
That's the foundation of that massive jump. Okay, now for the real aha moment. Let's talk about the actual keywords, the specific search terms the site is now ranking for. This really proves the shift.
Right. We're not talking about strength and motion phone number anymore.
Not at all.
We're talking about keywords that show someone is actively looking for help. For instance, the site is now ranking in the top 4 for the phrase New York chronic pain coach.
That's huge. Top 4 visibility in a major city for a high-value service.
And that osteoarthritis page we mentioned,
Yeah.
it hit position 1, number 1, for the keyword weight training for osteoarthritis.
Position 1. So they are the answer. This site went from being totally invisible to dominating the search results for a really specific, really helpful query.
That is the power of targeted, high-quality content. We're also seeing them rank for things like fibromyalgia treatment, Denver Co., and coaching for pain and stress. It's proof that Google now sees them as an authority on patient problems.
So it's ranking for what it solves, not just its name. And this strategy didn't just deepen their relevance, it unexpectedly widened their reach too, right?
Yes, and this part was a real surprise, the geographic data. Because the content was so good, the site established what you could call a global footprint.
How does that happen? Why would a local PT clinic in the U.S. suddenly get traffic from, say, Australia?
Because the content answers a universal medical question so well, like what to do for osteoarthritis, that Google sees it as an authoritative resource for everyone, no matter where they are. We saw impressions from Australia, Portugal, Canada, the UK, India, Brazil, even Qatar.
That's fascinating. So you get global authority just by being incredibly useful.
And it was useful on every device, too. The data shows that mobile was actually the winner here, 18 clicks from mobile versus 16 from desktop.
Which makes sense for patients looking for help on the go.
Exactly. So this expansion across geography and devices just confirms it. High-quality content builds a type of authority that goes way beyond just local SEO. It's about earning trust with Google's algorithms.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We started this deep dive with a website that was asleep, stuck at 0 clicks. We're ending with a site that is a consistent, trusted traffic engine.
And the core finding couldn't be clearer. The placement of just 3 targeted content pages completely changed their trajectory. We saw that 966% growth in impressions, and we saw them move from a local business name to a globally visible resource.
So what's the next actionable step for the business? What does the data tell them to do now?
Now it's about capitalization. They've established relevance. They have these high rankings, especially that #1 spot for osteoarthritis. The immediate recommendation was to go optimize the calls to action, the CTAs, on those pages.
Make it easier to book an appointment.
Exactly. Make the book a consultation buttons clearer, more prominent. Turn those 34 clicks into 68. Squeeze more value out of the visibility they've already earned.
That's the real-world application right there.
And this leads to one final kind of provocative thought for you, the listener, to chew on for your own strategy.
Yeah.
The data showed impressions from places like Qatar and Portugal, right? Places where this PT clinic is never going to get a paying patient. So what is the actual long-term value of being seen as a global authority if your business is local? Does all high-level content need to be hyperlocal? Or is earning that global resource status in itself a powerful way to build brand authority that eventually reinforces your local success?
Something to think about.
That's something to think about as you start your own deep dive into your digital visibility.